All right, buddy, welcome back to Black Hat USA 2018. Chuck Harold, SecurityGuideTV.com, ASIS TV. Our next guest, Mr. Eddie Habibi, PAS.com or PAS.com?
PAS.com.
PAS.com. Wow, that's even better.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show, my friend.
It's great to be here, Chuck. Thank you for inviting me.
Now, what do you guys do? I'm intrigued by the name. It's very simple, straightforward.
Absolutely. We're an OT cybersecurity company. Have been in that business for about 20 years, a little over 20 years, and we solve the most threatened problem right now in the industry, and that is the overwhelming attacks on the ICS systems, control systems that run the refineries and the water plants.
Yeah, that's the most important stuff. Now, 20 years in the business,
Yep.
That's like a dinosaur. I mean, right? I mean, not many people are around 10, 20 years in this industry. What were you doing 20 years ago when computers were kind of not so great?
Well, I've been called many things, but not dinosaur. But thanks for the compliment. We really wear that with a lot of pride. The OT environment, the control systems that run these water plants, process plants, refineries, and chemical plants are very complex. They've been around since the mid-'70s.
Right.
And they are not easy to figure out. And security on those becomes even more challenging because they were not designed with security in mind.
That's right.
So what we have is 20 plus years of experience, deep experience on how these systems are configured, how they are designed, and how they operate. In fact, we refer to what we do with these systems is managing the genetics, the genome, the DNA of these control systems, what we call security management, which is foundational to ICS security.
This is fascinating to me. Now, I'm gonna say it's kind of like the grid. I know it's not, but it's like a water grid. It's another way to look at it, right? Mm-hmm. And one thing that I was concerned about when I talked to Cisco years ago was there's still places like in the middle of Hoboken, New Jersey, where there's a little shed that was put in 1910 that runs electricity. It's not connected to anything. And I thought, well, that's not good. And he said, no, that's good. It's good that it's not connected to something, maybe, right? So in other words, we're so high tech, everything's so connected and fancy that it lets bad guys get into it. Is the water system similar, where we have built in the 70s, and you got to make all this stuff work? Is it trying to move to a high-tech, Internet of Things connectivity, or they just kind of keep things little silos? I think silos might be a better way to run things.
Well, that's a compounded question, and I'll address it one step at a time. First, the water treatment plants have had control systems in them for a long time,
right.
And they are digital computer-based control systems.
But are they locally controlled?
They are locally
right.
controlled, and you would hardly find a system today that is not connected to the enterprise system.
Okay.
But with that said, let's grant it. Let's say we air gap these systems, and they're totally isolated from the enterprise as well as from the internet. They are still vulnerable, and the vulnerability comes from the fact that you have people on the inside who work for the company who inadvertently make errors on these configurations and these systems,
right.
And things do happen. But more importantly, if somebody wants to attack a water treatment plant that is totally isolated, they find ways to do it through contractors who have access, through social engineering.
All comes back to insider threat, doesn't it? Eventually, yeah.
Precisely.
All right.
Precisely.
Now, in your opinion, do you think that's the bigger threat? When I was in the physical security business, insider threat was always the biggest threat, although the buyers of security or the sellers of security would have you believe opposite. Somebody's going to breach your perimeter. Who wants to come in here? I'm not worried about it, right? But 85% of laptops are stolen by employees, right?
So the way we measure threat has to do with probability. It has to do with your vulnerability, the vulnerability of your systems. If you look purely from a probability standpoint, you are much more vulnerable to inadvertent, believe it or not, internal threats that are mostly inadvertent. People make mistakes.
Yeah, good point. Excellent point.
People make mistakes,
right.
And these are very sensitive control systems. In a water treatment plant, you could have the nasty water, the sewage getting into the clean water. In refineries, you could shut down
right.
a section of a plant just by pure mistakes. I've been in control rooms. When an operator went to move a valve, a massive valve in a fluid cat cracking unit, from one setting to another, and he made a mistake. Missed it by a decimal point. Went to go from 4.7 to 4.9, he missed the decimal point. He opened the valve wide open, and before you knew it, the plant was shut down.
Oh boy.
Those are the inadvertent mistakes, human errors that happen.
Now, that's a good argument for me to be on a septic tank and well water. I don't have these issues right out of the head.
You're safe.
For now.
If you're dealing with septic tanks, you're safe.
Now, what do you think is the next threatened landscape we have to worry about? I mean, I know you do what you do, but let's think outside water treatment. Because I know you think about this. I know you go to bed thinking, that's bugging me. I'm worried about that. What are you thinking about?
Very, very insightful question. The thing that concerns me the most is that it has been proven that the industrial control systems can be compromised remotely. The industrial control systems are the heartbeat and the brains of the new economy, the critical infrastructure.
Right.
And what we have seen is nation-state attack on these systems. And that is what concerns me the most. Nation-states have figured out that this is a way to attack the critical infrastructure of a nation in a stealth mode without being detected and cause serious damage.
Yeah, they don't have to invade us anymore. That's old school.
That's precisely the case.
You make sure that somebody's toilet can't flush in Beverly Hills, California, and all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm
but
half kidding, but I mean, one reason the United States is successful in other countries, indoor plumbing, we have infrastructure, we have electricity, and that makes us successul. Without power, think about that. If we can't run all our computers and all our systems, what do we have?
Absolutely.
It's all important stuff. Do you think people are taking it seriously now? I don't think they are. You are, but I mean,
I think we're getting there slowly. I think the professionals are. I think I can tell you this: boards of directors of critical infrastructure are absolutely serious about this. They have been for a while. They have put a mandate that every refining, chemical plant, power plant secures and hardens their control system. Let me go back to what you were mentioning earlier. I'm less concerned about the toilets in Hollywood and more concerned about the water, the power that powers up all the servers around the country and lights up the homes. Here's what can happen in a sustained, multi-phased attack. You could shut down these systems and have the same situation, have the same outcome as you would have after a serious natural disaster. I lived through several hurricanes, being in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
The last one was Ike. Harvey was another one. When you lose electricity and water for an extended period of time, initially it's inconvenient. Then it becomes challenging. And after a few weeks, it can become a disaster if it is multifaceted. If the refineries are shut down and the power system is shut down, you're not going to have trucks bringing goods.
That's right.
To your homes.
And generators in hospitals only run a couple weeks, and then now what? Now we're out of fuel, and you can't get the fuel there because you can't pump the gas. No, it's a serious thing. I mean, it's almost like having an infrastructure after a war. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to rebuild the whole thing. Very
Absolutely.
serious.
I'm glad you brought the example of the war. What do countries hit? The first thing that gets hit at war.
That's right. Your power plants, your railroads, your airports, all that
critical infrastructure.
That's right. First thing. That's right. Eddie Habibi, excellent conversation.
Pleasure talking with you, Chuck.
PIS.com. Now,
thanks for the opportunity.
I got to tell you, I have a rating every time I do an interview. I wake up and I say, do I feel good or bad after this interview? I don't feel so great.
I am sorry to have contributed to your feeling not so great.
But I also feel good because you're on the job. You're on the case. I feel good that people are taking it seriously. I wasn't aware of that, and there is hope. All right, thanks for coming on, BS.
Thank you for having us.
I forgot what TV show I'm on. Thanks for coming on Black Cat USA 2018. Matt Kin right here on Security Guy Radio.
It's great talking with you, Chuck.